I always thought love was supposed to fix things, not break them. Back then, I trusted Sophie more than I trusted anything in the world. She used to sit across from me in our tiny living room, highlighters everywhere, her textbooks open like they were worth more than both of us combined. I worked double shifts so she could focus on school, and every time she said, "I'll pay you back one day," I believed her. One night, she looked at me with red eyes and trembling hands. "Ethan, I'm nothing without you," she cried. I dropped my bag instantly. "What happened? Did someone say something?" "No," she whispered, sliding her arms around my waist. "I don't want to lose you. You're all I have." I held her, brushing her hair from her forehead. "You're not going to lose me. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere." She shook in my arms like her world was collapsing. I thought she was scared of the future. Now I know she was scared of losing control over me. The next morning, I told Ryan about it. We ate breakfast at the corner diner like we always did. The smell of burnt toast and cheap coffee made the place feel real. "How's Sophie doing?" he asked, barely glancing up from his plate. "She had a breakdown last night," I said. "Says she's nothing without me." Ryan smirked and stabbed his eggs with his fork. "She's dramatic. Girls like her always want reassurance." I frowned. "She's just stressed. School is tough. I'm trying to help her." He snorted. "You're doing more than help. You're carrying her. If she cries, you jump. If she asks for money, you give it. If she needs attention, you drop everything. She's a queen, man. You're her worker." I clenched my jaw. "I don't mind supporting her." He shrugged. "Sure. Just don't let her run your life." I try to laugh it off. "She's not controlling me." "Whatever you say," he said, raising his hands. "Just don't drown. Try and save someone who knows how to swim." That stuck with me, even though I pretended it didn't. Sophie called while I was still thinking about his words. "Are you free later?" she asked. "I have another shift, but I'll come after," I said. Her voice softened instantly. "You're the best. I don't know what I'd do without you." "You'll be fine," I said lightly. "No," she repeated, sharper this time. "I won't." I didn't understand why her voice sounded more like a threat than a compliment. Later that week, I found receipts in her bag. New clothes, expensive makeup, fancy dinners. When I asked, she smiled and waved it off. "Just investments," she joked. "A business student has to look successful." I didn't question her again. I didn't want her to cry. I didn't want to be the reason she broke down. I kept working harder. I kept paying. One evening, she wrapped her arms around my shoulders and whispered, "Promise me you'll never leave." I hesitated, but she dug her nails into my shirt. "Promise," she repeated. "I'm not going anywhere," I told her. She kissed my cheek, satisfied, and said, "Good. I deserve someone loyal." At the time, I thought loyalty was love. I thought her fear was love. I didn't realize she wanted obedience, not support. Ryan called later that night. Still playing hero? Still giving advice no one asked for? I joked. "One day you'll thank me," he said. I laughed, thinking he was being dramatic. I didn't know he'd be the reason I actually broke. Looking back, I should have seen it. I should have noticed how their eyes lingered on each other when we hung out. I should have questioned why she smiled harder at his jokes. But I didn't. I loved her too much to see clearly, and I trusted him too much to ever doubt him. I kept believing I was chosen, not used, and that blind faith cost me everything. Ryan kept texting me all day about a big surprise. He kept repeating, "You're going to thank me for this, man." I didn't know what he meant, but he sounded excited. He asked me to meet him at a private restaurant downtown. I thought it had something to do with the marketing firm he worked at. He'd been hinting about a position for weeks. When I walked in, a waiter smiled wide. "Congratulations to the engaged couple," he announced. I stopped breathing. "What couple?" I asked, confused. He pointed toward the back room. "Your friends. Private event. They said you were the guest of honor." My heart slammed against my ribs. I followed him slowly, and the moment I stepped inside the room, I felt the ground disappear under me. Ryan and Sophie sat together at a decorated table, holding champagne glasses. Sophie's hand rested on his, and on her finger was a ring I recognized. It was identical to the one I had saved months for, a ring she had once described to me in detail. "Sophie," I whispered. She flinched slightly, then forced a smile. "Ethan, I didn't want to hurt you." Ryan stood and opened his arms as if I should hug him. Congratulations, bro. We're getting married. My voice cracked. You're engaged? Sophie nodded slowly. Ryan proposed last week. We were waiting for the right time to tell you. The right time? I asked. You invited me to celebrate your engagement? She looked away. We didn't want you to feel betrayed. Betrayed? I repeated, laughing without humor. We were together. Ryan shrugged. Were. Past tense. Man, you weren't the right fit for her. You're a great guy, but what? I snapped. Sophie's voice turned sharp. You're too ordinary. You never take risks. You play it safe. I need someone bold. I stared at her. I work day and night for you, and I appreciate it, she said, reaching toward me like she still owned me. You helped me grow, but you can't be my future. Ryan raised his glass. We want you to be happy for us. That's what real friends do, right? I looked between them. Were you together the whole time? Sophie whispered. It wasn't planned. Ryan cut in. Things happen. We connected. You connected while I paid her tuition? I said quietly. Sophie's face tightened. Don't make this ugly. I'm making this ugly. I asked, stunned. Ryan put his hand on Sophie's shoulder. We're starting our life. You can still be part of it. Part of it. I repeated. You want me to cheer for you? That would prove you're mature, Sophie said. I couldn't speak. I couldn't breathe. The waiter from earlier entered with a cake shaped like a diamond ring. Behind him, the restaurant owner, Mr. Patel, followed and paused when he saw me. You must be Ethan, Mr. Patel said softly. I heard this is difficult news. I met his eyes. Something in his expression said he already knew what they had done. I swallowed hard. Ryan laughed lightly. He'll get over it. Ethan's tough, aren't you? Sophie leaned forward. Say something. All the pain, confusion, anger, they crowded my throat, but nothing came out. They were waiting for a broken reaction. They wanted my heartbreak to bless their decision. Ryan lifted his glass again. To the future, Sophie whispered. I'm sorry, Ethan. I hope you'll understand someday. Mr. Patel gently placed a hand on my shoulder. You don't have to stay, he murmured. I nodded. My voice finally returned, but I didn't use it. I didn't scream, bargain, or argue. I didn't congratulate them. I simply turned around and walked out. No words. No excuses. No goodbye. Their shock behind me felt louder than any rage could. I didn't break. I just left. And for the first time, silence was enough. Sophie texted me 2 hours after I left the restaurant. I hope you understood why we did it. We still care about you. I stared at the message and typed back. I understand enough. Then I deleted it. She didn't deserve even that. A few minutes later, Ryan sent a voice note. His voice sounded too proud, like he had won something. Bro, don't make this weird. You should come to the wedding. Prove we're still family. Real brothers don't walk away. I replayed it twice, just to make sure he really said brothers. I laughed so hard the sound startled me. I hadn't laughed in weeks, not since before everything fell apart. I whispered to myself, family? You stole the person I trusted. The next morning, I walked into a small design studio downtown. A guy with messy hair and glasses looked up from behind a monitor. You're Ethan, right? Yes, I said. You're Lucas. He grinned. Lucas Grant, the artist who makes miracles for broke entrepreneurs. What can I do for you? I handed him a rough sketch. I need an invitation made, gold foil, classy, elegant. Oh, wedding? He asked, raising an eyebrow. No, I said simply. A business launch. He let out a low whistle. Looks like you're aiming big. What's the occasion? Starting a marketing firm, I said. Launch party. Same day as a wedding I won't be attending. Lucas paused. That sounds personal. It's not personal anymore, I said. It's necessary. He studied my face for a moment. You look like someone who just lost something important. I didn't lose, I said. I got rid of what was holding me back. He chuckled. Fair enough. So what's the business called? Cold Creative Solutions. I answered. I want people to remember it. You're starting with confidence, he said. I like it. While he worked on the layout, he asked, Want any special line on the invitation? Yes, I said. Put, new beginnings deserve witnesses. He typed it out and nodded. That's bold. Good, I replied. Bold is what got stolen from me. I'm taking it back. He looked impressed. You ever think revenge might distract you? I'm not after revenge, I said. Revenge would mean I still care. I don't. Lucas leaned back, thinking, so, this is closure? Freedom, I corrected. He snapped his fingers. That's powerful. Let me finish the design. When he finally showed me the final product, it looked expensive, gold edges, black lettering, my business name shining across the front. It looked like success. I'll take 50 copies, I said. 2 days later, I stood at the post office filling out the sender information. The clerk looked at the golden envelopes. Fancy event? Yes, I said. A very important one. I wrote their names slowly. Ryan Hale and Sophie Miller. I slipped 2 invitations inside their envelope along with a handwritten note. I'm moving on. You both should too. The clerk weighed the envelope. First class. Absolutely. As the envelope disappeared into the outgoing bin, a calm warmth washed over me. Not victory, not anger, just release. Like someone had cut the heavy rope I'd been dragging. Walking outside, I took a deep breath and whispered, no more begging, no more trying, no more being second. My phone buzzed with another message from Sophie, asking if we could talk. I silenced it. I didn't need closure from them. I didn't need apologies. I had sent my answer in gold. And for the first time since the truth exploded in my face, I felt something real, something stronger than love, stronger than hate. I felt free. Lucas slammed a stack of papers on my desk and grinned. Ethan, your logo is everywhere. People are asking who designed it, and I'm taking full credit. I laughed. You deserve it. Without you, this launch would have looked like a high school project. You had the vision, he said. I just wrapped it in gold. Our office wasn't fancy, just a rented room above a bakery, but it felt like victory. Clients walked in because they respected my work, not because they pitied me. Every marketing strategy one built came from the skills I taught myself trying to help Sophie. But now those skills were working for me. One afternoon, a woman with straight black hair and sharp glasses stepped in holding a folder. You're Ethan Cole? She asked. Yes, I said. Can I help you? She smiled. Actually, I think I can help you. I'm Ava Brooks, accountant. Do I look like I need saving? I joked. You look like someone who's about to make money and has no idea how taxes work, she replied. Lucas burst out laughing. He definitely needs saving. Ava placed the folder on my desk. Business owners talk. They like you. They say you're honest. They don't say that about many marketing guys. I raised an eyebrow. What exactly did they say? She sat down. They said you work hard, you don't overcharge, and you don't lie to get results. That's just basic decency, I said. She shook her head. Basic decency is rare. Keep it. It'll make you rich the right way. Her confidence made me feel seen. Not pitted, not controlled, just valued. As she explained financial plans, she paused and looked at me closely. You deserve better people around you, Ethan. I swallowed. You don't even know me yet. I know enough, she said. You don't act like someone who wants to hurt anyone. You act like someone who's done being hurt. I looked away for a moment, letting her words settle. That's accurate. Lucas leaned in. So, Ava, when can you start? She smiled at him, then at me. Whenever he decides he deserves help. I nodded. I decide now. 2 weeks later, news of my company reached people I didn't care to impress anymore. My phone buzzed nonstop. At first I ignored it, but then I noticed the name. Ryan. What the hell, Ethan? You scheduled your stupid launch the same day as our wedding. I typed back slowly. I scheduled my future on a day that mattered to me. You picked the date. I just moved on. 30 seconds passed before he exploded again. You're trying to embarrass us. You think you're better than me? I replied, I don't think about you at all. Before he could respond, Sophie called. I stared at her name until I finally answered. Ethan, she began, already crying. I don't know how to feel. Everything is changing. I need you as a friend. No, you need someone who won't leave you, I said quietly. Exactly, she sobbed. You always stayed. You always cared. I care because I loved you, I said. You kept me because it was useful. That's not fair, she cried. It's exactly fair, I said. You chose him. You lied to me. And now you're crying because I stopped being your safety net. I'm sorry, she whispered. Can we just stay close? Can you just be there for me? I closed my eyes and breathed out slowly. I'm not your backup anymore. Silence stretched on the line. Then she attempted a soft, broken, so you're abandoning me too? No, I said. I'm finally choosing me. I hung up. I walked back into the office, tried to shake off the last drop of guilt clinging to me. Ava looked up from her calculator. Bad call. No, I said, sitting down. A necessary one. Lucas raised a cup of coffee. To necessary decisions. Ava raised hers too. And to people who rise without apologizing. I clinked my cup with theirs. To moving on without looking back. For the first time, I didn't feel replaced. I felt upgraded. Not because someone else chose me. Because I finally chose myself. I stared at my phone that morning, reading messages that didn't even surprise me anymore. Lucas leaned over my desk with a half-eaten sandwich in his hand. Dude, look at this, he said, waving his phone. Rumor is Ryan's spending company money on fancy dinners. For Sophie. I raised an eyebrow. Already. Apparently he's trying to impress her family, he said, taking a loud bite. He's failing. I almost laughed, but the sound came out more like a sigh. I guess pretending to be rich gets expensive. Lucas grinned. That's why I pretend to be broke. I shook my head and opened my laptop. Work deadlines filled the screen, but my mind kept drifting. Not toward regret, just quiet observation, like I was watching a movie I'd already seen spoilers for. Around noon, my phone buzzed again. Lucas leaned close to read it. From Sophie, he guessed. The notification preview showed her name. Her family's demanding he return engagement money. I muttered after opening the message. Lucas whistled. Yikes. Guess love didn't cover the receipt. I didn't respond to him. I read Sophie's text again. I didn't know they hated him. Can you believe this? I locked my phone and slid it face down. Lucas stared at me. You not going to answer? No. He blinked. That's it. That's it, I said simply. It felt peaceful. Not cold, not proud, just detached, like I'd stopped carrying something heavy without noticing it fall. Later that afternoon, Lucas and I met Ava at the conference table. She had a neat stack of financial reports ready, along with her calm focus that made numbers look less intimidating. Before we start, she said, handing us the documents, Mr. Rowan confirmed the contract. 3 months minimum, renewable annually. Lucas raised his arms dramatically. Victory! I smiled at her. Thank you for pushing the proposal so fast. Ava shrugged lightly. I push for clients who deserve it. Lucas nudged my shoulder. See? Even accountants flirt with you now. Ava rolled her eyes. I'm complimenting his work ethic, not his face. I chuckled. Trust me, my face has been through enough this year. She looked directly at me, calm, honest. Whatever you went through isn't a label. Don't carry it like one. Her words settled quietly in my chest. No pity, no judgment, just something grounding. Lucas pretended to wipe tears. Wow. Emotional accounting services. Ava ignored him and clicked her pen. Back to numbers. Your revenue projections look strong. If you maintain transparency, clients will trust you faster than any ad campaign. I nodded. That's the plan. Honesty first. She smiled faintly. That's rare in business. People will notice. As we continued discussing strategy, my phone vibrated again. I saw the name, ignored it, and slid the phone into my bag without breaking eye contact with Ava. She noticed but said nothing. That silence felt like support. That night, I sat alone on my couch, reviewing designs for our campaign when another message arrived from Sophie. Did you know who he really is? I stared at the words. No anger rose. No heartbreak tugged. Just stillness. Lucas texted separately a minute later, winning without trying. I replied, I don't feel like a winner. He sent a laughing emoji. You don't have to. You're calm. That's better. I set the phone aside. For the first time, calm didn't feel like emptiness. It felt like space. Space for work, for growth, for people like Ava who didn't treat me like a broken project. I leaned back, closed my eyes, and whispered to myself, Karma doesn't scream. It only whispers. And tonight it was quiet but loud enough. I woke up early on the day. They expected me to sit in the crowd and clap for them. Lucas barged into my office as I arranged the banner for our launch event. Today's the big day, he said dramatically. The wedding of his century, or the launch that stole it. I smirked. I'm not stealing anything. I'm just not attending. He shrugged. People made their choice. By noon, guests arrived at our event. Business owners, friends, even Sophie's cousin Maya. She hugged me tightly. Why would I go to a wedding where the bride betrayed the groom and the groom betrayed you? I blinked. That's simple. That obvious, she replied before wandering into the venue. Ava walked over with a clipboard. You look calm for someone whose ex is probably having a meltdown. I chuckled. That's not my storm anymore. She nodded approvingly. Good. Let them drown in their own choices. The launch started. I shook hands, answered questions, explained concepts. Cameras flashed. People congratulated us. I wasn't pretending anymore. I was actually proud. Not proud out of spite, but out of effort, out of growth. Then Maya rushed back to me, whispering loudly, You won't believe what's happening over there. Lucas leaned in instantly. Don't leave us hanging. Maya grinned. Half the guests skipped the wedding to come here. Ryan is blaming Sophie. Sophie is blaming her parents. Her parents are blaming Ryan's spending. Lucas cackled. Beautiful chaos. I shook my head slowly. Not beautiful, just predictable. Ava raised an eyebrow. Do you want updates? Or peace? I answered without hesitation. Peace. She smiled. Then ignore your phone for the rest of the day. It was good advice I intended to follow. Until my phone buzzed again and again and again. Calls from Sophie, messages from unknown numbers. I didn't open a single one. Lucas checked my screen. She's really panicking. And I'm really not involved, I said, sipping a glass of water. Hours later, when the event slowed down, Maya returned again, unable to keep anything to herself. Okay, you need to hear this part, she whispered. I sighed. Fine. One detail. She looked thrilled. Ryan's parents refused to sign the marriage papers. Lucas gasped dramatically. No way. Maya nodded eagerly. His mom, Mrs. Hale, told Sophie's family, We won't let our son be legally tied to someone who encourages debt. She asked where Ryan got the money for luxury dinners, the ring upgrade, the fancy venue deposit. Sophie's parents demanded receipts. Ava crossed her arms. Receipts never lie. I frowned. So they figured out the spending wasn't from savings? Maya nodded. Exactly. Apparently he took business money. And now his dad is threatening legal action if he doesn't pay it back. Lucas whistled. The wedding broke faster than the marriage would have. Ava gave me a thoughtful look. Do you feel anything about it? I paused, searching myself honestly. No, just quiet. She smiled warmly. That's growth. My phone buzzed again. I let it vibrate against the table without touching it. Sophie's name flashed repeatedly, like an alarm I refused to acknowledge. Lucas nudged me. Not even one message? Curiosity? I shook my head. Curiosity kept me stuck before. I'm not interested anymore. Ava tapped her pen gently. Let silence answer for you. So I let it ring. Let it buzz. Let the storm on the other side drown itself without dragging me in. I stood next to our banner, watching guest network, seeing clients smile at our work, hearing my own voice greeting people proudly. For the first time in a long time, I felt the weight of nothing. No pain, no anger, just freedom. Peace isn't loud. It doesn't need attention. And today it chose me. I stepped out of my office with a stack of files in my hands, only to stop abruptly when I saw her standing by the door. Sophie looked wrecked, mascara streaked, hair messy, eyes swollen. Ethan, please talk to me, she whispered. I didn't move. Why are you here? She took a shaky breath. I didn't know where else to go. I kept my voice flat. That's not my problem anymore. Her eyes filled again. He cheated on me, Ethan, during our engagement, with someone from work. I found messages. I let the words hang in the air. I didn't feel shock. I didn't feel sympathy. I just felt empty. Why are you telling me this? She stepped closer, reaching out. Because I know you cared about me. You always did. I pulled back. Past tense. She flinched. Maybe we could start over. I can fix things. We could be who we were. You helped me dream, Ethan. I studied her face carefully. For years I thought I loved that face. Now it felt like looking at a stranger. Did I ever really love you? I murmured, more to myself than to her. Her voice cracked. Of course you did, right? I shook my head slowly. I love an idea. You destroyed it. You broke something you can't fix. She covered her mouth, sobbing harder. I'm sorry. I didn't know how to appreciate you. I took a step back, and now I know how to appreciate myself. She reached for my arm desperately. Please don't leave me like this. I pulled away. You're not mine to leave. For a moment, she just stared at me, stunned by the simplicity of it. No yelling, no accusations, no begging, just truth. She wasn't my heartbreak anymore. A voice called from behind me. Ethan, do you need anything? Ava asked, stepping out of the office. Sophie turned sharply. Who is she? Ava answered calmly. Someone who doesn't want anything from him but respect. Sophie glared, but Ava remained steady, hands in her pockets. I exhaled. She's my accountant and my friend. Sophie's lips trembled. So that's it? You're replacing me. I shook my head. I don't replace people. I remove them when they don't belong. Sophie looked defeated, then whispered, You won't forgive me? I answered softly, I already did. That's why you're not staying. Silence swallowed everything. She stepped back slowly, eyes full of regret. She finally understood came too late. Without another word, she walked away, leaving the past to follow her instead of me. When I returned to my desk, my phone buzzed with a new notification, an email from Ryan. I opened it briefly. Let's put differences aside. Maybe I could join your company. We can work as a team again like before. I stared at the screen, smirking. The same man who betrayed me wanted a job for me now. Ava leaned over. Good offer. I clicked delete. Wrong direction. She grinned. Silence says more than words. Huh? I nodded. Exactly. Lucas poked his head inside the office. Drama over? I shrugged lightly. It ended on its own. He raised a brow. Feel like celebrating? I smiled faintly. I feel free. That's enough celebration. The door closed behind us. No revenge. No anger. Just a quiet goodbye that didn't need an audience. Sometimes, peace isn't something you earn from others. It's what you take back for yourself. Ava sat across from me at a quiet restaurant, reading the menu while I watched people laugh around us. Business meetings used to make me nervous. Now, dinner felt easy. She noticed me staring. What's on your mind? She asked. I shrugged lightly, just thinking how different life looks now. She smiled. Different good or a different complicated? I breathed in slowly. Different peaceful. She set down her menu. You didn't get even with them, you know. I raised a brow. Should I have? She shook her head. No, you didn't sink to their level. You grew up. Her words settled deeper than she probably expected. I leaned back. Maybe I was never trying to win. Maybe I just didn't want to lose myself. She chuckled softly. Most people don't realize that's the real victory. The waiter came by, took our order, and left us with warm bread. Ava leaned forward, curious. Do you ever think about them? I took a sip of water. Not really. It's like remembering a story I read once. I know the plot, but I'm not part of it anymore. She tapped the table playfully. You sure? No tiny bit of revenge, craving. I laughed under my breath. Revenge is loud. Peace is quiet. I like quiet. She nodded. You chose yourself. That's rare. I looked at her, really looked at her. I used to think love meant saving someone, carrying their pain, fixing everything. Ava tilted her head. And now? I answered softly. Now, I think love is noticing who stands beside you without asking to be carried. Her eyes softened. That's a good answer. The food arrived, and we started eating. The conversation flowed without effort. Work goals, plans for expanding the team, a charity project we wanted to start for small businesses. The future felt big, but not heavy. Between bites, she grinned. Your company's getting attention fast. People really trust you. I nodded. Because I don't promise anything I'm not willing to build. She raised her glass. To building, then? I lifted mine. To building. After dinner, we walked outside. The air was cool, city lights glowing behind us. She paused at the curb. Where do you see yourself in a year? I thought about it. Not with Sophie. Not competing with Ryan. Just living. Happy. I said honestly. Ava smiled. Good. You deserve that. I chuckled. You say that like it's obvious. She nudged my shoulder. It is. You just didn't believe it before. We stood under the street lamp for a moment, unhurried. For the first time, I wasn't running from anything or toward anything. I just existed. Free. She glanced at me. You okay? I nodded slowly. Better than okay. I'm finally living a life I chose, not one I begged for. Ava crossed her arms playfully. So what's next, boss? I smiled. Next, I keep growing, with the right people beside me. She held out her hand like a promise. Then let's keep choosing the right people. I shook her hand, feeling steady. Let's. The night didn't end with fireworks or dramatic closure. It ended with clarity. The world hadn't changed. I had. I didn't win anything back. I didn't take anything from anyone. I just chose myself, and that changed everything.